Well, guys, we're all still here. The rapture didn't happen. The solar eclipse went without a hitch. You know, I keep telling everyone it's all a theatre. The world is just a stage. We're all just watching actors. There's no good government, whether you're left, right, centre. If you're part of government, then you're part of the great deception. The great deception that is government. You know, as I get older, everything is becoming clearer. I've always been skeptical of the government ever since I was younger. But I don't know whether I've mentioned this, but I grew up in a cultural Catholic family. What I mean by cultural Catholic is, we celebrate Christmas, Easter. I was baptized. My entire school education was Catholic, Christian. You know, I went to primary school, St Anthony's Catholic primary school. And then at grade 7, I went on to St Mary's Christian Brothers College. I went to St Mary's because after grade 7, that's where all my friends were going to St Mary's. So that's the only reason. I've always been skeptical. I've been kicked out of so many religion classes over the years, just for asking questions, trying to learn. But the nuns at the time didn't like the way I presented my question. One of my questions was, if I remember, I asked about Satan, and the nun went through her speech and everything, and I asked because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lucifer, Satan, Lucifer was one of God's greatest angels. And he challenged God, and he was kicked out of heaven. I believe him and Michael had a battle or something, and Lucifer was cast out of heaven with other angels. And anyway, that was one of the questions, and I didn't even get a reply. I was just asked to leave the class, go and stand in front of the Mary statue where all the bad boys were put. Another question I had was, if God created us, then who created God? And she gave me some sort of, this is going back many years, by the way, but I believe she gave me an answer like, God is, almighty, creator of everything, and he's the one and only blah, 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 blah. And I said, so he was created out of nothing. Like he just existed. And these are the thoughts running through my head when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And it still blows my mind that, like, where does it begin? Like, how does something just exist? But I had many debates with a lot of my friends because, as I said, I grew up in a Christian education system, and a lot of my friends were full on, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, believe what you want, but so many questions, and another question I had for Sister Marilyn was, like, there's so many different religions. How can they all be right? Like, is Jesus really the Son of Man, Son of God? Is Muhammad the most perfect example of a human? I don't understand how billions of people, let's talk about the big ones: Christianity and Islam, and you can throw in Judaism and Hinduism and Buddhism and all the rest of it, but we all can't be right. Now, do I think that something happened for people to believe? Of course. I mean, I had my own experience, and I got to be honest, I still don't know whether it was an alien or a demon. One thing I'm pretty sure, I'm 99.9% sure that it definitely wasn't an angel. Because if it was an angel, then definitely wasn't what I thought an angel would look like. Demon, possibly. Alien, yeah. And maybe it's my religious influence creeping in, because 12 years of Christian education will do that. But I still leave practically everything on the table. I'm not sure about anything, but I'm skeptical of the way that the Bible and the Torah and the Quran were written or interpreted. And if I ever meet our Creator, our Maker, and I'm not let into the pearly gates, I do have some questions that I hope I get the chance to ask, and I hope, before they throw me out, that they answer it. I still don't get, like, the whole suffering of children bit, and letting all these wars go and everything. And yeah, you look to Revelations and blah blah blah, but there had to be another way. If it's all true, it had to be another way. But after my encounter, I still leave practically all options on the table. But I do have some lingering, like, some deep questions about Jesus. What was he doing in the Garden of, is it Yosemite, at such a late hour with a little boy? And I've got questions about Muhammad. and the whole marriage, child thing. Like, if these are the most perfect people, or the ones that we are supposed to follow, and these are what a lot of these wars are being fought over, I just don't get it. And yeah, but yeah, we survived the another apocalypse, whatever, however you say that. We survived it. There was no rapture. There's no blackouts yet, but I'll talk more about that on another one, because I do think power outages are coming. Pre-IA Atlas, now they're expecting around December. Am I going crazy? I don't answer that. But do they keep changing the dates on when this 3I Atlas comet / UFO / whatever it is supposed to be like flying by or coming? Do they keep changing it? Like, yes, I am crazy, but I thought it was September, then someone said November, now we're getting to December. If you haven't read my book, go and buy it. Evil is Watching.